Hey everyone, so we are now ready to kick off our blueprint for creating our online Bible study group ministry. So the first step is really going to be to decide what kind of study you want to deliver. Do you want to deliver a topical study, a character study, a chapter by chapter study, and so forth? So first you got to figure out the type. And then you want to decide on the actual topic. So, of course, if it's a character study, you might want to dive into the book of Esther or Ruth or, whatever it is. And so it's really important once you've decided what you want to give a Bible study about, that you do the research to figure out exactly how people are searching for it, both online in Google, but also in YouTube. So I'm going to have two videos. This one is specifically going to focus on how to research the written content, so the stuff you're going to write on your blog, as well as the printable type keywords to help you in coming up with the ideas for, the printable versions of the material you're going to create. And then in the next video, right after this, we will go in and do research in YouTube to see how exactly people are searching for that particular topic, but in video format. So the first thing I want to do is hop over here to, let me open my page up here. This is Megan Allen Ministry. So if you're not familiar with her, she is actually, her and I got together about a year ago, maybe a year and a half, and we talked about this whole Bible study ministry online plan. And so for the last 18 months or so, she's really been working hard at creating all of the written and printable content. And then she launched a Facebook group to where she delivers it. And now she's actually adding the video component. In hindsight, I think it's better to try to do the video alongside the written content. That way you're concurrently building your YouTube channel as well. But this is just kind of a lesson learned from the talk that we had about a year and a half ago. So if you go to her site, on her homepage, you can see, we'll just go there so I can take you. So here you have this Bible studies blog. So if you just click on that, this takes you to her silo page of several the Bible studies that she's already written. And so I encourage you to go check it out because, you may have written Bible studies yourself, but it's always good to kind of get different perspectives, see different ways that they can be written. Maybe she's doing something that you're not doing that you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. Or maybe it can just give you some inspiration for some ideas that could make yours better. The truth is, there's really no right or wrong way to put these into format. I mean, I guess there could be a wrong way in that it's not a followable, logical format, but the visual, how it looks, when you see hers here. So we'll just do Philippians. It doesn't mean that yours needs to look exactly like this. This is just how she's written hers. And we will talk a little more about that in a minute when we talk about the research. But most everyone here should have a basic understanding of SEO. You've gone through my boot camp. And so understanding how content needs to be written. And so the written part of it, it's very important that you write it with the hopes that it will be indexed so that, you can get traffic to this from your YouTube channel, but the goal is to get traffic from both places. So writing it in a way that, one, makes sense to your reader as they're following it, but also that it makes sense to the crawler, so the crawlers will index it. And when someone Googles for this particular topic of study, that hopefully yours will come up on page one. And so you can see she has hers laid out. And again, you can take a look at how she has her outline. She has her table of contents plugin, so it shows her outline to just give you ideas. Now, every study will be formatted differently. Why? Because some studies are longer, certain chapters are longer, certain characters have way more stuff going on than others. And so the outline is not a one outline fits all. It's really going to be dependent on the topic or the person or the character or whatever that you're writing about as to like how extensive that outline is going to be. So take a look at hers just to get a feel for visualizing what this looks like. Now she does have some other content that is no index that helps to add a little more flavor, more information to this. But, if you add too much to it, then it can confuse the crawlers. And, we really need to keep this crawler friendly, if you will, so that it will rank. And then you have no index pages that you can link to that there will be no impact because they're not index. They're not crawlable. And so definitely take a look at what she's doing here. So now let's hop over here to Google. So Keywords Everywhere is the tool that we're using. Most everyone pretty much is using that already if you've been kind of following Kingdom Bloggers for any amount of time. It's a browser extension. It's a really great tool. And so when you get in here, we're just going to start with the basics. We're do a chapter, right? So Philippians Bible study. So you just start with that, right? And we see here Philippians Bible study has about $8.80 a month. You can see some of the other things that are on here: study questions, study outline, study guide. So that's giving you some like ideas of possible headings or sections in your written content. Also, many of these things like the PDF, the questions, the notes, the guide, even though they don't, well, this one has PDF on it, but the rest of these don't have the word printable or PDF associated with it. What it is a printable, right? If I'm looking for the study questions, most likely I'm going to want to print them out. And so this is where you're also getting the ideas for the types of printable material that are associated with that particular study, how people are Googling it, so that you can add that to your plan of the printable things you need to make. And, you know, when we get to the section, to the lesson on making printables, you know, you're going to have a basic version, just one they can take with them just for doing the study. And then that will lead into more upgraded version. But we'll talk more about that when we get to that lesson. So this is just one. So, okay, so the chapter studies are kind of straightforward. The ones that might be a little more, I don't want to say difficult, but you might have to get a little more creative would be, or you may actually, you have more creative strategies that you can come up with, are character studies. So let's just do Ruth Bible study, right? It's pretty standard. Got Bible study, study questions, study guide, and free and so forth. Free being a good word you want to put in there. So this is someone literally looking for a Bible study. So on my site, I don't actually have written studies like what we're talking about here in this project. Mine are more of just breaking down stuff. And so another way to write content that could eventually lead to your study. So this is bigger mindset thinking. Don't necessarily just write the study. Another way to get people who are looking for information on this particular character would be just the simple, who was Ruth in the Bible, right? And she has, how much? If it's loading, 27,000 search volume. Who was Ruth in the Bible, right? And so different variations of just the person. Who was it? So if you looked back on this one, who was Ruth's husband? Ruth in the Bible characteristics. If you look at Esther, who was Esther? There's other questions in here. So who was Esther in the Bible? 4,400, right? And so there's a lot of questions. So writing an overview of the person, the character themselves, is a great piece of content that could have an internal link over to your actual study. So this is just something to think about going forward, keeping in the back of your mind. But back to the actual study, someone literally looking for a study. These are the types of things. Now, you know, with Philippians, and even like John, some of the longer chapters, longer books of the Bible have multiple chapters. And so you will notice in some of those, like here, Esther Bible Study Chapter 1, not so much on this one, but let's do John Bible Study. Oops. Can't spell. It's not really going to show it in here either. You may find in your drop down and when you just click on one of these and you get your stuff over here on the right, you might actually start seeing significant search volume for individual chapters, right? This one had, well, John, oh, that's a 12-week study. First John, Bible Study Questions and Answers, 140. John 7, Bible Study Questions and Answers, 140, right? So this is telling you that in those longer books of the Bible, breaking down a chapter by chapter study might be a more appropriate way to go about it versus trying to do one single study on something that's going to take like forever. Or you could make it a just John Bible study, and it could be 12 weeks long, right? Instead of a 4-week study, we do 12-week, and each week is a different chapter or whatever. And so each one of those, you would do the study, you would do the video, and the printable notes go with it, and then move on to the next chapter 2, and so forth. And so again, there's no right or wrong way to go about doing these. It's really just how you want to approach it. You know, the longer studies, it would make more sense to make multiple chapter studies, because a lot of people would prefer to kind of dive into them that way. So your assignment for this week is going to be, of course, to decide on the type of study, choose your topic, and then begin researching in Google. So keywords everywhere, all of the information you need to know to put your outline together. That means the written content part, notes for all the printables that you are going to want to create for it, the keywords associated with those printables, the exact words that you find in here. So like, John, a 12-week study PDF, and just, putting this in there sounds weird. Like, no, people search it that way because they're looking for a PDF. So how do you write that into your thing? Feel free to download our John 12-week study PDF below. That's how you would naturally put that in a sentence. And then you link that to the Google Share Drive where they can download the free PDF and so forth. And we'll get to that part, the delivery of the printables, in the printables kind of lesson here in the course. So that's your marching orders for this week. Pick a style or format, character, topical, chapter, who or what is it going to be about, and then begin doing your research. This is the most crucial part. And then from there, you will begin, which, I'll do another video for this, is to start working on your outline and putting the content together. But right now, the easiest part, or maybe the most difficult, depending on if you're like, I want to write about everything. No, you have to pick one, right? We got to start with one and begin working on that. And so in the next video, I'm going to show you how to do the video keyword research, because it's going to be a little different, but it's very, very important. So we want to get all this research done before we dive in and start creating the actual content. If you have any questions, please drop your comments below. Let me know, like, if you're struggling, maybe you're picking one of those weird random books of the Bible that, we know is in the Bible, nobody ever talks about, and you're having troubles finding, the information for it, just let me know. And we will dive deeper and see what we can come up with. So I'm super, super excited, and I can't wait to see what you all are going to be creating. And so go forth and make it happen. Bye, guys.